A very good morning everyone. I am CS Kajal Handewag from Nyandeep Academy, Pune, and today we are here to discuss the Hindu analysis dated 21st December 2024. So a very interesting newspaper today and very interesting news articles that have been covered up. The number one that we'll be talking about is adjournment sine-die. We spoke a bit about it yesterday, but we spoke about it in the Uttar Pradesh point of view. Today we'll be talking about it with parliamentary perspective. Next is the EVM, that is VVPAT. Third is we'll be talking about defense, artillery, guns. And last we will be talking about Kuwait visit. Now all these 4 points are important from exam point of view. Also, if we talk about IR, Kuwait visit is very important from IR perspective, because this is something that India is unusual at doing it, and doing it after a very long time. So yes, you all need to know about it. And all 4 news are interesting as well as important from exam point of view. So that's why I said that today's newspaper is very interesting from a reader's perspective. So let's start. Okay, now if we talk about the winter session that ends on a bitter note, this is what the news is. So both the houses of parliament, that is Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, they were adjourned, sine-die. And what do you mean by sine-die? We just spoke about sine-die yesterday, correct? We spoke about an adjournment, that is the houses, they do not meet for a particular period of time. And when will they meet again? That time is not decided. This is what adjournment sine-die is. So this was done yesterday. Even Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha was done, adjournment sine-die, and the winter session has had a very bitter ending. Also, if we talk about Rajya Sabha, we also spoke in one of our Hindu sessions that Rajya Sabha chairman Jagdeep Dhankar, the members are trying to pass a no confidence motion against him, or no trust motion to be specific. Okay, so yes, let's talk about this. So Dhankar, he asked the members that you all need to leave all the political differences aside. You all need to restore the peace, and you all need to make the parliament work how it generally works as per the constitution. This is what he had to say. And if we talk about Lok Sabha speaker, that is Om Birla, he also issued an extremely strict warning. He said that you all need to stop protesting and holding demonstrations, because many of the leaders are protesting outside the parliament, in the parliament premises. They are holding demonstrations with a placard, and then narebazi and everything is going on. So he gave a warning that don't do that, especially in the parliamentary premises. Also, unbelievably, only 4 bills have been passed in the Lok Sabha, and only 3 bills have been passed in the Rajya Sabha. This is a very bad productivity. The Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, that is the parliament, is responsible for lawmaking, and they are supposed to make the country work. But only 4 and 3 bills are being passed here. If we talk about the productivity of Lok Sabha, it was 54.5%, like half of what they can do. And Rajya Sabha was worst. It was 40%. So they can, how much work they can do, they are not even doing half of it. The Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Now, why is this happening? Because of the protests, because of the demonstrations. The ruling party and the opposition party need to rise above their political differences, and they need to think from a broader perspective, from India's point of view, because all of them, we have elected them. If they are sitting there, it is for the good of the general public. Okay, so the productivity has been hampered a lot. Next. Now, who summons the house time to time? First of all, the president has the power to summon each house of the parliament. Also, if we talk about the maximum gap, there are 2 sessions of parliament. Between them, the maximum gap cannot be more than 6 months. The maximum gap of 6 months will be there. It means if we talk about the parliament, they should meet at least twice a year. Okay, so please remember this, the parliament meets at least 2 times in a year, because the gap between 2 sessions cannot be more than 6 months. Now, a session of parliament, what do you mean by the session is being conducted? the period between the first sitting of the house and its last day. Okay, we call it as prorogation. Like right now there was the winter session. Winter session means when the parliament is sitting there and when they are having discussions. Okay, so the first day when your session starts till the last day. Okay, so that is known as a session. First day se leke it is still prorogation. Prorogation means end of it. Now, there are usually 3 sessions in a year, the budget session, the monsoon session and the winter session. These are the 3 ones. If we talk about the budget session, it will be the next one, that is February to May. Okay. Then if we talk about the monsoon session, that is during the rainy season, there is a gap of 1 month, that is June, then July, August, September. Then again, there is a gap of 1 month, that is October, and then there is a winter session, which goes on from November to December. Okay, so it's just 21st December. December hasn't even ended, but the parliament is adjourned sine die. Like they don't know what date they'll meet on next. The period between the prorogation of the house and its next session. Okay, so for example, February to May. So we have a 1 month period of June when there is no session, when the parliament is not going to meet, because the next session is starting on July. So this June period will be known as the recess period. Okay, and February to May is the session period. June, recess, again session. Okay, now the sitting of a parliament, it can be terminated. Either we adjourn it, or we adjourn it sine die, or we prorogate it. That is, in case of Lok Sabha, we can even like this dissolution, dissolve it, a no confidence motion. Okay, now what exactly this is? Let me explain. First, we'll talk about adjournment. Now, adjournment is you are stopping a particular session for a period of time, and let's say maybe you are going to meet after 35 days. So you give a particular date that okay, we will be meeting on let's consider 15th February. So the parliament will be reassembling on 15th February, and right now we are done with our transactions. Let's end it for this session. If we are doing something like this, this is proper adjournment. Okay, adjournment sine die is when you say that okay, now we will reassemble later on. We don't know when. This is adjournment sine die. A fixed date of reassembly is not concluded. And then if we talk about prorogation, is like when the entire session is done. It's so all the businesses are transacted the last day. And dissolution, as I said in case of Lok Sabha, a no confidence motion, if no party has a majority, if we do not have a leadership, the Lok Sabha can be dissolved. Again, a no confidence motion has to be passed. A very strict procedure is there for a no confidence motion to pass. This shows that no party in the parliament, no party in the country has a clear-cut majority to make a government and to rule the country. That is why this Lok Sabha needs to be dissolved. Okay, this ministries need to be dissolved. So they will be dissolved there and then, and there will be again re-elections. The general Lok Sabha elections, which just happened few months ago. Okay, so this is what here it is. In short, adjournment when the reassembly time is fixed, adjournment sine die, reassembly time is not fixed, and the power of adjournment as well as adjournment sine die, who can do this? It is the presiding officer of the house. So it can either be the speaker in case of Lok Sabha and chairman in case of Rajya Sabha. So who is our speaker? You all need to know this. It's Om Birla. And chairman, it is Jagdeep Dhankar. Okay, now as I explained, prorogation is like once the session is done, once everything is completed, the president will issue a notice that okay, now everything is done, and the presiding officer declares this as adjournment. The president can also prorogue the house while in session. If we talk about dissolution, again as I explained, Lok Sabha can be dissolved because the members are elected there. Rajya Sabha cannot be dissolved because the members are not elected there by general elections or by the public. Okay, they are nominated. So dissolution can happen only in case of Lok Sabha. Dissolution means the Lok Sabha ends, a new house has to be constituted, but for that elections will have to be held. And who can dissolve the Lok Sabha? It is the president who can dissolve the Lok Sabha. Now if we talk about the second news, that is EVM row. Supreme Court moves former MLA's plea to another bench. Okay, now what is exactly happening? So a petition has been filed by whom? By MLA Karan Singh Dalal. Now who is he? He is like, he's become an MLA 5 times before this. He is seeking directions to the Election Commission that you all need to have a policy, you all need to have some rules, because you all need to check and verify the original burnt memory or microcontroller of the EVMs. And bench, it's the 3rd time in a row that the Supreme Court is interfering in this particular matter. So now Mr. Dalal, he is saying, now what exactly this burnt chips and everything are? Okay, so now Mr. Dalal has to say that the original burnt memory or microcontroller of the control unit, that is the VVPAT, and the symbol loading unit, it must not be deleted. Okay, so now what happens is, during the April 26 judgment, they said the burnt memory of microcontroller of the 5% of EVMs can be checked and verified by a team of engineers or the EVM manufacturers in case of any suspicion. Okay. So now what generally happens is, there is a microcontroller, there is a memory card kind of a thing, which is there in our EVM machines. Okay. So after a point of time, they are burnt. Okay. The chips are burnt, the memory cards. So Mr. Dalal says that the original burnt chips should be made available. It should be like a permanent record. It shouldn't be burnt. Now again, why is this burnt? So that the future elections are not manipulated using the same old chip, the same old memory card. Okay, that is the reason it's burnt. Now they also say, the court said that if you all have any doubt, if there is any suspicions, if there is any doubt that the elections are not being conducted fair, so a team of engineers, a team of experts who know about all of this can inspect even the burnt chips. So they will get the data. Of course, they can't inspect the whole thing. They can inspect a 5% sample. On that, we get an idea of how approx or matching the results are. Okay. So yes, this is what he's saying, and now Dalal is saying that no, you shouldn't burn these microcontrollers. You should keep it as a record. Okay, now what is VVPAT? What is VVPAT? Voter Verifiable Paper Audit Trail. This is known as VVPAT. It was introduced in 2014 Lok Sabha elections. This is an independent system. Okay. Now what happens? I don't know if you all have voted or no, but when you all go to vote, first of all, you all enter that room, then your identity card is verified, then you either give a thumbprint, or you sign. Okay. Once that is done, you submit your receipt and everything. And even if you don't have it, if they verify your name in the list that they have, and then we finally go towards the EVMs. So the EVM is a machine, and it is packed even from the sides, so that nobody can see the confidentiality of the voting that we are doing. So it is like covered from, not closed entirely, but it is covered from the side. Okay. So now when you there are options of n number of parties. So for example, number 1 is BJP, number 2 is Congress, and let's consider you clicked on number 1, that is BJP. So you have to properly click there. There's a button, and next to the button will be a BJP ka logo and the name of the candidate from your particular constituency. So when you click the button, there will be a beep noise that will come up. Okay, and at the side there is a transparent window kind of a thing, a glass. Okay, on that machine itself there is a transparent glass below which you can see what is happening. So below that, whichever vote you've put here, it comes on a paper. Okay, that paper is there below that glass. Obviously you cannot take it or you cannot touch it because it's below the glass. And then that paper is there. On paper your vote is visible, your name is not visible, just the party that you voted, their logo and then the name of the candidate and everything. That receipt comes just the way a normal receipt hota hai, so that thing is visible, and then you can just check it if your vote is fallen for the correct person, and that is there present for 7 seconds, and once that is gone, it falls down in that entire box automatically. We can't see anything after that, and then your vote is exercised. So this is how the process is done. Okay, now if we talk about this, the thing that I was telling you all, the paper that we can see once we vote here, our vote is visible on the paper, that is known as VVPAT. So it has a printer because it needs to print that receipt. It has a display unit. As I said, we can see it, whom we voted, and it is attached to the EVMs. Now, it helps us to verify that our vote, we've done it properly or no. Now, when a vote is cast, as I said, the slip is printed. It has a serial number. It has the name of the candidate. It has a symbol. Main is a symbol, and it remains there for 7 seconds. Also, this slip, as I said, it will automatically, it will get cut and then it falls to the inner box, and that box is also sealed. Nobody can randomly open that box. Okay, next we will be talking about Defense Ministry, who has signed a 7629 CR pact for 100 artillery guns. Okay, so if we talk about the Defense Ministry, it signed a 7629 CR contract with L&T for 100 additional K9 Vajra T self-propelled tracked artillery guns for the Indian Army. Now, the procurement of this K9 Vajra T, what will it do? It will modernize the guns that we have. Artillery means the collection of weapons and everything. So it will modernize that. Also, it will enhance the overall operational readiness of Indian Army. Like, they won't have to wait for much long. If they have those guns, they'll be more readily okay and prepared to go on a particular encounter as such. So the gun is equipped with a lot of good technology, and this good technology, it has a long range fire, and this fire is not a normal or casual fire, it is a life-taking shoot. So it is a very long range one. It has got good accuracy, it has got good rate of fire, and also the best part about this is there are areas which are at huge heights, the high altitude areas, right? The mountainous areas, and the temperatures there are very low. So even in such situations, these guns, these artillery will have full potential, can be utilized fully. Now, when this will start, this will give employment to 9 lakh man days over a period of 4 years. So there will be the days that people will have to work is the 9 lakh days, and this will go on for like 4 years, nice 4 years. So this will encourage the small startups, then it will provide employment to the seasonal laborers. Okay. Now, why is this going to provide employment? Because the Defense Ministry, we've signed this agreement with L&T. We are only going to create it, like L&T and Defense Ministry. And of course, the major part comes from L&T. Defense Ministry is like giving a contract, and they talk about what requirements they have. The major people who put intellect in this will be L&T. Last topic of the day, a chance to strike gold during the Kuwait visit. Again, as I said, very important from IR perspective, because this is something unusual that has happened. So if we talk about our PM Narendra Modi, he is visiting Kuwait on December 21-22. The visit will be first because as an Indian PM in 43 years. So in 43 years, an Indian Prime Minister is going. The last time it was Indira Gandhi who had gone. This was in 1981. Okay, and before COVID, that is in Jan 2022, Mr. Modi was scheduled to visit Kuwait, but because of COVID, it couldn't happen. So finally, it's happened in 2024 right now, and this has been done after 43 years. That's why I said this is important from exam point of view, because this is done after a very long period of time. Next, the visit is very important because, of course, our bilateral ties will improve. No wonder Kuwait and India will have better relations, 100%. But if we talk about the entire region, that is going through a tough time. You know, there are so many conflicts happening. There are so many transitions, like the powers are changing. Okay, so if you all want a specific video about how there is a change of power and what are the issues that have been happening with the Gulf areas, please let me know. We'll have another video which will cover only that particular topic. Now, Mr. Modi had also visited every single country who's a member of GCC. Now, what is GCC? We'll see in the next slide. Yes, so he had visited every member of GCC, but only Kuwait was pending. And since the last 10 years, he's been visiting it. So right now, visiting Kuwait, it will fulfill this gap also, which we are having in our relations with them. Especially because we keep talking about how good our relations are with West Asia, right? So in such a case, of course, we need to have good relations with all of them. Now, if we talk about this visit, our ties have been pretty much stagnant with Kuwait. As I said, it was in 1981 that Indira Gandhi had last visited Kuwait. So we are just there. We don't have any dushmani or any, like enmity with them. No, but our relations are not that great, like we can call them a friend. So we need to take these ties a bit up. We have a strong potential for a very good engagement with Kuwait. So why not utilize that? Now, why is Kuwait even important? It is because it is so small. It is like the smallest area. But why is it important? Because it holds a lot of strategic importance. Okay, now where is it located? I don't have the map right now to show it to you all. But we need to see it in the map. The Persian Gulf. So it is located on northeast side of the Persian Gulf. It also shares borders with Saudi, with Iraq, and it is one of the important things. It has American military base, and a very important American military base. It is the only monarchy as in the king and the queen system, it goes on, and monarchy, the king, queen are also there, as well as a sense of democracy is also there, which is very successful. So Kuwait is one of the finest example where these both can coexist. If we talk about regional issues, it is generally neutral. It does not take anybody's side. It does not take anybody's call. They prefer to stay out of it. And if any time they are required for resolving disputes, they'll be the first one to resolve and bring about solutions. Okay, and if we talk about its wealth, it is generally because of obviously oil reserves, and they are 6th largest in the world. So Kuwait has a lot of oil. It is also one of the founding members of OPEC. We've spoken about OPEC in one of our Hindu sessions. Now, what is OPEC? Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries. Okay, so Kuwait is one of the founding members of OPEC. It has also got a lot of wealth funds. These funds are managed by KIA. Now, what is KIA? This is Kuwait Investment Authority. Okay, because they have also got a lot of international investment. They have got many people who with a lot of funds who have invested in them. So they have grown at an impressive rate. And right now, if we talk about the amount, the funds they have is 924 billion. Which is the 4th largest in the world. First one is Norway, second is China, and next is UAE. After this, it's Kuwait, who has a lot of sovereign funds. Imagine 924 billion US dollar. How big can this be? Okay. Now, If we talk about India and Kuwait, we have been friends. As I said, we haven't been enemies. We haven't been great friends. We've just been like okay with each other. But we have had a strong cultural historical bond. In fact, there was a time when India was one of the first countries who recognized that we need to establish international relations with Kuwait. Also, if we talk about during 1961, in Kuwait, Indian rupee, the currency also was ours. Like we could have used Indian rupees that time. Our relations were that good. We have been trading with Kuwait time and again, and if we talk about the total bilateral, that is just between Kuwait and us, it is $10.47 billion, which is a lot. Even during 2024, Kuwait was the 6th largest crude supplier. Now that is 3% of India's total energy need comes from Kuwait. So though it is a small region, but India's 3% is huge, and that the Kuwait is catering to the energy needs of India's 3% population. So it is important strategically. Also, if we talk about COVID, India and Kuwait, we had good relations. In fact, India gave 2 lakh vaccine doses to Kuwait, and even during the second COVID wave that was done in that was in 2021, which was worst. It spread disasters across the world. So that time Kuwait, they provided India. So yes, Kuwait provided to India 282 oxygen cylinders. We had 60 oxygen concentrators. We had ventilators and many other medical supplies. Okay, so this is what Kuwait gave to India. So during the first time, we helped them with vaccines. During the second time, they helped us with the oxygen cylinders, ventilators, and oxygen concentrators. All of this they helped us with. Okay, so of course it's not a huge number. It is like 300 oxygen cylinders. One COVID center, maybe we had more than this. But then if we talk about how important even one oxygen cylinder at that time was, and even a gesture of help from another country when even they are dealing with this pandemic, that shows that there is brotherhood, there is a good relation between the two nations. Now, as a special gesture, even in Kuwait, the Festival of India was celebrated recently in 2023. Also, a Hindi radio program, that is Namaste Kuwait, has been started. If we talk about schools, there are 26 schools in Kuwait who have 60,000 students, and they follow the CBSE pattern that we follow in India. Right? We have a CBSE pattern, we have SSC, we have CBSE, we have ICSE. So 26 schools in Kuwait follow the CBSE pattern, Indian pattern. This shows how close we are. The radio program which started in 2024, that is Namaste Kuwait, that is in Hindi. Then we had the Festival of India organized there. So this shows that how culturally bonded we are. Like we have a soft power with Kuwait. Now, what is GCC? I told you all, Gulf Cooperation Council, I will be telling you all about. So there are 6 countries here: Bahrain, Kuwait, Oman, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and UAE. Okay. GCC, it was established in Saudi Arabia, that is Riyadh, in 1981, long back. Now, why was this established? That the 6 nations who especially are a part of Gulf, like they're the Gulf nations, and they have world's half oil reserves, just 6 of them. The entire world's half oil reserves lies with just these 6. So they had to form an organization. So they formed GCC. And why is it formed? So that these oil reserve providing nations have good relations with one another. They are cooperative with one another. Culturally, they come together. Economically, they help each other. And at least once in a year, they should hold a summit and meet. The unity of the Gulf nations should be seen. That is why GCC. If we talk about India's relation with GCC, we have been a great partner with the entire GCC bloc, like these 6 nations. It's 15.8% of India's total trade only comes from GCC. So if we talk about UAE again and again we have been dealing with, trading with, and is India's 3rd largest trading partner. So it's huge, and according to latest figures, there are 8.9 million Indian expats residing in GCC countries, these 6 countries, okay? There are 8.9 million. Can you believe it? So many Indians are residing in our GCC countries. And if they are NRIs, obviously if they are residing there, so they become NRIs. So NRIs ka 66% people have been residing in GCC. This is huge. So if 100 Indians are out of them 66 are just in these GCC. Okay, so these 6 GCC nations. So how important it is for us to maintain our relations with each and every of the GCC country. Once again, I'll show you all who these GCC nations are. It's Bahrain, Kuwait, Oman, Qatar, Saudi Arabia and UAE. Okay. So yes guys, that's it. That's all for the day. As I said, it was a very interesting read today for the reader, from reader's perspective, and from exam perspective. I've told you all what all is important. Okay. So yes guys, chalo, that's it. We'll stop for the day. I will see you all next week for the next Hindu analysis. Have a great weekend. Take care of yourself and study well. Thank you.